All right, guys. This is Adam with Straight Shooters Fire Training. All right. So, before we get started, before we go down to the range, I want to go over a little bit of some fundamentals, how to hold the firearm, how to aim, all that kind of stuff before we meet at the range. Okay. So, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. All right. And make this bigger. All right. So first thing I want to do is go over dominant eye exercise. Okay. So a lot of people think just because they're right-handed that they're automatically going to be right eye dominant. That is not the case in some situations. So what we want to do is first we want to make a small circle with your hand. Okay. You want to place that way out in front of you, fully extend your arm, and you want to focus on a small object in the room. It doesn't matter what it is, something small. And with both eyes open, you want to look at that object. Okay. Once you have it focused, you're going to close your left eye. Now, if that object is still there, that means that you are right eye dominant. Now, if you go ahead and open both eyes again and you close your right eye and the object is still there, that means you are left eye dominant. Okay. I'll give you guys just a minute to figure that one out. If you're left or right eye dominant. All right. Like it says on here, just because you are right-handed does not always mean you are right eye dominant. With a pistol, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. You just, you have the pistol out here. You can just bring it a little bit over to the left, bring a little over to the right. Not a big deal. The thing you'll notice is that if you are shooting a rifle, it will be a little difficult. So my father-in-law, he is right-handed and left eye dominant. So when he shoots rifle, he had to train himself to shoot left-handed, basically. All right, now I'll go to the next slide. Position, all right, we're going to go over that a little bit. Position is a platform from which the shooting fundamentals are executed. You should be comfortable, balanced, relaxed, and properly aligned with the target. All right. I have a firearm here, okay, unloaded, so you guys can see nothing in there. All right, no magazine, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so what we want to do, we're firing. We want to get that, punch it out straight in there. You want your feet shoulder width apart. Okay, you don't want to be standing on a train track and wobble and fall down. Okay, you want shoulder width apart. You want to punch it straight out, and you want to slightly lean forward. Not a lot, just a little bit. What happens is if you stand straight up and you start shooting, the recoil of the firearm is going to kick back. Then you're going to shoot again, kick back, you shoot again, and then you're going to start seeing people that are shooting like this. Okay? You don't want to do that. All right? So that's why I just tell everybody just lean forward just a little bit. Just a little bit to brace yourself a little bit. Okay? Safe trigger finger position. You guys might have noticed that when I pick up this firearm, okay, my finger is right here, okay? That is a habit that you need to get into, okay? You don't want to pick up the firearm, put your finger straight into the trigger well. That's just a way for you to, pull the trigger back on accident, and if it's loaded, you don't want any accidents happening, okay? So it says right here with the pistol pointing in a safe direction, the index finger should be placed alongside, above and away from the trigger guard. All right. Next, we have assuming a two-handed grip. All right. So with the non-shooting hand, and grab the firearm, take the V in your shooting hand, which is this right here, and you want it all the way up. That. I don't know if you see that. I don't want to grab it down here. Okay, so this pistol is gripped with the base of the thumb and the lower three fingers. So you're going to wrap your three fingers around just like that. All right, grip pressure straight to the rear. Trigger finger is along the frame. Now, what you're going to do, I might have to change position here so you can see it. What I like to tell people to do is to basically lift your thumb up just to make room for your hand here. So what you're going to do is the palm is going to a lot of people try to put hands next to each other. Don't worry about this hand. You want this palm on the texture of the firearm. So place it there, 4 fingers, wrap it around the front, and now I kind of just let my thumbs go down a little bit, okay? Your thumbs are not putting pressure against the firearm. They're just kind of laying there, okay? Right, it says there, bring the support hand to the shooting hand, wrap the support hand fingers around the shooting hand fingers, bring the heel of the support hand firmly against the heel of the shooting hand. All right, there are 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting: aiming, hold control, breathe control, trigger control, and follow through. This is just a concealed carry class, so the only thing I really go over here is trigger control and aiming. If you guys want more practice shooting and are interested in, I also teach a 8-hour NRA basic pistol shooting class. You'll get more information about that during the classroom portion, okay? So aiming. Aiming is the process of achieving the proper relationship between the front sight and the rear sight. It consists of 2 components, sight alignment and sight picture. Okay? The sight alignment refers to the proper relationship of the pistol's front and rear sights. With your post and notch sights, the tops of the front and the rear sight are even, and the front post is centered in the rear notch. So you want that perfectly flush across the top, and you want even space on both sides, okay? Some errors in sight alignment and sight picture. You can see in all these pictures here, the one straight all the way on the left. The front sight is down slightly, and so is the shot. The next one, the front sight is up, and so is the shot, to the right and to the left. You can see right here the proper sight alignment and sight picture, what that looks like and where your shot will go. All right. It says on here, just go back here, sorry. Sight alignment is more critical than the sight picture, all right? So even if your front sight is not directly on the target, right in the middle, it's still more critical that you have the rear and the front sight lined up than it is where you place that front sight on the target, is basically what they're saying there. All right. Front sight focus. When shooting a pistol with iron sights, visual focus should be on the front sight. This will leave the target and the rear sight slightly fuzzy, as shown in the picture, but clear enough to establish proper sight alignment and sight picture, okay? So, like it's saying there, you want to focus on that front sight. That is the main focus there. Your target will be a little blurry, your rear sight will be a little blurry, but the target will not be too blurry. You'll still be able to make it out. It'll be blurry, but just good enough to make it out to aim your front sight and get it on that target. Trigger control. All right, trigger control is the proper method of activating the trigger to minimize movement that can misalign the sights. All right, years ago when I was in the academy, what the instructor did is he took a pen, okay, and he drew a line right there in my finger, so I would remind me that that's where my finger goes on the trigger. Okay, you want it in between the first joint and the index finger, right in the middle of that first pad, basically right there is where you want that trigger, right in the middle. All right, the trigger is squeezed straight rearward in a smooth, continuous movement. Squeeze should produce a surprise break. Trigger squeeze and sight alignment are done while maintaining the minimum arc of movement. Okay, so the 2 main things that I see people mess up on when shooting a pistol, okay, is number 1, they either have their finger on the trigger, they put their whole finger in there and they get it on that first groove there. You don't want that. Like I said, in the middle of the pad, okay, want to pull it in a nice, slow, steady, continuous movement. What happens, a lot of people, they, for some reason, want to yank on that trigger. And what happens is if you're right-handed, you pull that trigger too hard, and do this. Okay? Your wrist moves the gun to the left. And all your shots are going to be on the left side of the target if you end up doing that. Another thing, and it says the trigger squeeze should produce a surprise break. What does surprise you? It's going to kick. That's okay. What happens is you pull the trigger, kicks. Okay, just going to bring it back down. Pull it again, kick it up, you bring it back down. Not a big deal. What we see a lot of times with shooters is they'll aim. They don't know what the recoil feels like yet. So they aim it on the target, they pull the trigger, boom. First shot, dead center on that target. Okay. Now that they know what the recoil feels like, you start seeing all their shots in the stomach of the target, not even on paper. Okay. What they're doing is in their mind, they're like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, it's gonna go, it's gonna kick, it's gonna kick. And what they do without even realizing it is they push down right when it goes off. You don't notice it because as soon as they push down, it kicks up. But you start seeing all the shots in the stomach or off paper completely. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to let it surprise us. Don't worry about the recoil. It's not going to kill you. What happens is it's going to kick, just bring it back down. Kick, bring it back down. If you start to notice all your shots either off paper or really, 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 really low on the target, that's probably what you're doing. The only other thing I'm kind of want to go over real quick with you is loading. Okay, so we are shooting a Glock 44, okay, which is basically a 22 version of a Glock 19. So this is what the magazine looks like. Okay? So basically what we're going to do on here is you're going to grab it. There's a little tab on each side, and you can pull it down. And what happens is there's a spring, and you pull it down, and you literally can just drop the rounds right in. Now, we don't want to pull it down all the way because then the rounds might tumble in the magazine. So we're going to pull it down just enough. And there, you'll see here, there's a little cutout right there where the back of the cartridge goes. It slides back, okay? Again, I will be there to show you how all of that works. All right, before we go to the range, it's important you know the range rules as well. There's some general range rules here. Always wear eye and ear protection on the range. No smoking or eating. Consumption of alcohol or drugs prior to the range is strictly prohibited. Follow the range officer's commands. Report unsafe, suspicious behaviors allowed in the range. Never go forward to the firing line at any time for any reason. Find a range officer to assist you with any dropped items. No more than 2 people in a firing lane at a time. Only 1 person can shoot at a time. Do not change firing lanes. You must always be attentive to the range. Therefore, cell phone calls and text messaging is prohibited, and you agree to keep the facility free from unnecessary wear and tear, nuisance, or garbage while at the range. Now, the most important things that you really will need to know, because I will be there walking you guys through it anyway, is, and I shouldn't have to say this, but you're going to have to put eye and ear protection on your head before you go into the range. I know that sounds silly to say, but the reason I say that is because I have had people that have never been to an indoor range before walk on the range without earmuffs on. They are shooting live ammunition out there, so make sure you have your eyes and ears on before you get into the range, not after you get there. All right. Number 2 big thing that I see a lot is the doors. There are 2 doors when you get to the range. What they do is they create a sound barrier. So when you open one door, everyone can go in, and then you close the door before you open the second door, okay? Just little things like that. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, call me, whatever, but I will be there at the range, and I will be, taking you one at a time in there and showing you how to hold the firearm, how to put the finger on the trigger, how to aim, all of that. We'll be walking you through it. We'll shoot our 5 rounds. and then we will go to the Ouch Lodge where we will do the rest of the class. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this.